Hello. Welcome to reInvent 2024. You know, I'm really honored to be here with you today, and I'm really excited also about the people you're going to meet and the stories you're going to hear over the next hour. Innovators and builders inspire me, and each reInvent underscores why I'm so passionate about leading AWS's public sector business. From federal agencies to regional governments, multinational organizations, healthcare providers, academia, and everywhere in between, the public sector continuously is innovating for the common good. And really, for thousands of years, across cultures and across continents, one driving force has always spurred humanity forward: innovation. Some centuries-old advancements are still with us today. As a history buff, I admire and draw inspiration from how innovations pioneered thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, during the Renaissance, continue to play practical roles in our everyday life. From the humble pencil to the revolutionary telescope and microscope and the transformative printing press. This 300-year period cast an enduring shadow of innovation. The Renaissance pushed limits. They pushed the limits of human imagination. They spawned inventions and improved lives. They deepened our understanding of the world. Yet while the Renaissance expanded our human knowledge over centuries, cloud computing and artificial intelligence are doing it exponentially faster today. So it's fair to say that Gutenberg's printing press was one of the first truly disruptive technologies. It upended tedious handwritten processes and introduced mass communication. In a similar fashion, the AWS cloud enables instant global collaboration and data sharing. Just as the telescope enlightened our view of the cosmos, cloud-powered big data analytics allows us to process astronomical amounts of information. And as the early microscope allowed us to see unseen worlds, artificial intelligence is going to uncover trends and patterns that help customers make decisions and innovate even faster. So the cloud has fundamentally altered. It's through computing power and cost-effective resources, it's eliminating the need for the investment in physical hardware so that all of you can accelerate innovation and focus on your core business functions. Now, the great thinkers of the Renaissance transformed society with groundbreaking ideas. They paved the way for modern scientific thinking. Many of you approach your work with the same mindset. And as you harness these advanced technologies on the AWS cloud, things like generative AI, to effectively deliver on your missions, it promises to enhance how we approach our daily work and our daily lives. This transformation today is being powered by foundational models built by AWS and our partners. Building models on your own like this would cost billions and billions of dollars in capital and literally would take decades. Now you can instantly tap into foundation model capabilities, and you can do things like language processing, visual comprehension, code generation. You can speed up all kinds of new processes, and you can build applications quickly. One of our leading model providers is Anthropic. We recently announced a collaboration with Anthropic and Palantir to power an AI platform that gives defense and intelligence agencies across the Claude family a large language model that's secure on our cloud. This solution we created lets customers operationalize the use of Claude within Palantir's AI platform, and you still get the security, the flexibility, and the agility, and the sustainability of AWS. This is an approach that allows our customers to handle classified data all the way up to top secret. We created Amazon Bedrock, and it's there to simplify AI development and customization. It allows to securely and quickly experiment and innovate at scale. This milestone enables us to bring the power of frontier models like Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 3.5 and version 2 to our intelligence community and Department of Defense customers. So frontier models really represent the cutting edge of augmenting human intelligence analysis. Complex pattern recognition, real-time threat assessment, features like guardrails, knowledge bases, and agents, those are planned for 2025. And we're delivering these capabilities that are going to reshape how national security organizations process information, how they make decisions, and protect our nation's interests. Now, over the course of the session, we're going to explore how the cloud helps customers reinforce national security, combat chronic disease, accelerate academic research, and mitigate the impact of natural disasters. I'm really excited, so let's get started. Now, during the Renaissance, security was paramount. I mean, I'm pretty old, but I'm not old enough to remember that methods like polyalphabetic ciphers to secure documents. But even back in the Renaissance time, they were using cryptography. But today, the stakes are so much higher. We've constructed the infrastructure to meet the most stringent requirements, including those of our US government, and our cloud is designed with the most flexible and secure available. We offer proven, purpose-built, secure cloud infrastructure. We do that here in the United States through our specialized government regions, US GovCloud, our AWS Secret Cloud, and our AWS Top Secret Cloud. And by leveraging all of these infrastructure, the intelligence community has enhanced speed, they've optimized their operations, they've strengthened their security posture, and they're delivering more data-driven results to support all of their missions. Now, one critical challenge that the intelligence community faces is the limitation of legacy systems. Raise your hand if any of you COBOL or Fortran 77 programmers or Lotus Notes Domino servers. I'm embarrassed to raise my hand, but there you go. Fortran 77. So I'm much older than I may appear on stage. But I'm not ashamed to say I learned to code in those now ancient programming languages. The problem is those outdated technologies lack speed and agility, all the things required to maintain decision and intelligence advantages in today's rapidly evolving threat landscape. So intelligence agencies need the flexibility to leverage these new technologies so that they can respond very quickly to changing requirements. And so that's why partners like Salesforce turned to AWS. This past October, Salesforce announced a top secret authorized government cloud, PaaS and SaaS, offering for US national security and intelligence agencies. It's hosted on the AWS Top Secret Cloud, and it enhances all information sharing, provides critical data insights, accelerates operations, and it's doing that while it's all meeting the highest security and compliance standards. The health of our societies and the economic resilience of our countries rely on the full situational awareness of our security and intelligence agencies. Speed and innovation are paramount and critical to identifying and mitigating emerging threats. Here today, and I'm really excited, here today to tell us more are two pioneering CIOs, Linnea Jones from the CIA and Scott Fear from the NSA. So please help me welcome Linnea and Scott to the stage. Hello there, good to see you, Scott. Good to see you. Well, before we get, first of all, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming to the desert and hanging out with tens of thousands of our customers and our friends and our partners. We really appreciate it. And thank you for all the work you're doing, you and your teams, to help keep everyone safe.
Our pleasure.
Sure. What do you think about reInvent so far?
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was sharing with the team that when I came in and all of the people that were listening to the conferences with the headphones on, it was like 4 sessions going on simultaneously. I said, leave it to reInvent to have like the latest. I'm a techie at heart, so I was like, this is amazing. So awesome.
All right, Scott, what do you think?
Well, this is my first reInvent, and it's very impressive to get this many people here in the desert. And the fact that you can feed everybody is really a paramount accomplishment, so appreciate that.
Well, just thank you for being here. You're both incredible leaders. I've had the fortune of being able to work with you in different constructs. And the things that you're doing with your teams are just really remarkable. Linnea, you're the CIA CIO. You're responsible for all the agency's IT systems, their personnel, global communications network, small portfolio.
I know, right?
And Scott, you're the NSA CIO, and you serve as the principal for all functions and authorities related to IT and technology across that enterprise. So another small job that you've got. I think it'd be great. Can each of you tell us about your organizations and how you leverage advanced technologies like cloud and artificial intelligence, machine learning, and how are you doing that to drive innovation? I'll go to you first, Linnea.
So absolutely, it's great to see you again, Dave. And I wanted to first and foremost thank AWS, and really humbled and honored to be here and to speak. A lot of people may not realize, but had it not been for the partnership with AWS that CIA took over 10 years ago, really the risk was on AWS, with Andy Jassy saying that they were going to work with the government and work to bring the best in breed technology to the national security space. We would not be here today. And so it's just been a phenomenal relationship, looking at how fast we've been just able to just progress from what was back then C2S to C2E. You've definitely been a partner that we would not be where we are without AWS stepping up and willing to take that risk over a decade ago.
Thank you. Thank you. We've learned a lot from you, and we're still learning.
Absolutely. So what's going on? And let's talk about CIA, right? The good stuff. That's what everyone wants to hear. So for us, as far as cloud, we've been on this journey now for over 10 years. Not surprising, generative AI is now being looked at every aspect and facet of not just CIA, but really across the Intel community. We're very fortunate and honored to play a key role to help lead that relationship and partnership with industry through C2E. But I wouldn't be fair. I always say intelligence is a team sport, right? And so when we start talking about where we are and what we're doing, we're looking at generative AI, not just from business, but from operations, our open source enterprise, which is actually how CIA was founded roughly 80 years ago. We're looking at it for analysis, and it's being used actively. I don't know if everyone realizes that we're actually making use of the technologies, and so we just look at the build upon that to even enhance it. As things are going on, we continue to want to leverage AI on multiple applications. Lakshmi Raman is our chief of AI at CIA, and so it's a complete partnership working with across the team. And we look at where we're going to go in 25 to make use. There's an analogy that using generative AI, you can take a developer that may not be as skilled and actually raise the digital acumen by using the tools and applications. And we're just very happy and excited about that.
I was a pretty bad developer, so I wish that was around when I was a youngster. That's how I ended up in the business side.
I did okay, but as you can see, I'm not coding now, so that's probably a good thing too.
Yeah. What about you, Scott? Thanks, Linnea.
Well, first, thank you for having me today. We are about 3 years, maybe four years into a journey of moving our capabilities into the Amazon cloud. We are building on the work that Linnea described that has been with AWS for over 10 years now. We are in the process of bringing online new data centers for our work. But as far as cloud and AI, we're very similar to everybody else in the world. We are looking at all of the emerging technologies as a means for us to do our mission better. So we are looking at large language models. We're looking at the cloud environment. We're looking at advances in how to secure our systems, just like everybody else. I think That's only part of the story, though. We are also really looking through how you take these new technologies and integrate them into our existing architecture. How do you lower the barrier of entry for all of these new technologies? The easy thing for us to do, and the things we traditionally do, are we would say build a cul-de-sac at the side of the architecture. But if we're going to use AI in the way in which we want to use AI, we really have to lower that barrier so it's just ubiquitous. When an analyst accesses data, the AI is built right there with them. They can't live in a world where they have to go someplace else to do their job. So in addition to just exploring technology, then how do you bring that technology to a place in the architecture that makes sense? And then number 3 is, once you have technology, once it's integrated, how are you changing the business processes to come and take advantage of that new capability? So I think those 3 things are very key to what we're doing. I'd also say, though, it's how we're doing it is changing dramatically. Previous incarnations of technical revolutions, we would procure technology, we would buy technology. I think, as Dave, you and I have been talking most of this week, right, it's really about how do you build partnerships and integration with the industrial base. I heard your opening remarks about how do you access billions of dollars worth of investment in technology. That's not just going to go buy something, that's an integration in with a company at a level we haven't done before. So how do we build architectures and relationships that we're codependent on each other so that we can be successful? Is a very exciting and new way for us to do business.
Yeah, that's great. All right, awesome. I think one of the things that occurs to me is for the two of you and for many folks, staying ahead of emerging threats, and you hit on a little bit of that, Scott. Recovering quickly also too. The business that we're all in, things happen. It's unavoidable. Disruptions are going to happen. World events are going to occur. Sometimes we hope that they don't, but we know that they are. Can you talk about resiliency factors into mission success? How does that factor into success in your agency?
Yeah,
Scott, I'll talk with you.
I would say resiliency is in nearly every conversation that we have. Whether that's a new feature, whether that's a world event, is how do you get our business done? How do you do mission in a resilient way? As you said, whether there's a hurricane or a snowstorm or a fiber cut or a cyber attack, your mission systems, our mission systems have to be there when they're needed. So resiliency is baked into every discussion. Our relationship and our movement into the cloud is a big part of that. Again, we get to leverage the billions of dollars that have gone into making resilient environment. So instead of us trying to rebuild that or recreate that, we can go into these relationships. So moving to the cloud is a big part of that resiliency story. But it's not the only part of the story. There's the people part of the story. How do you get people to where you need them to be? If there is a particular part of the system that has an outage, do you still have people in other parts of the global enterprise that can keep it running? So the cloud is very helpful, but it's not the whole story. We also look at the people part of it, the mission part of it, command and control pieces of it, but it all plays together to make sure that no matter what happens, our mission systems are there and available.
Yep, great. Linnea?
Sure, so absolutely. So, CIA being a global foreign intelligence agency is constantly looking at how we can be more resilient, more redundant, more reliable, as well as the constant evolving cyber threat, as Scott was mentioning, and has definitely shifted and changed the way that we've operated. Over the past 2 years, CIA has specifically focused on resiliency. Mission resiliency and reliability and redundancy has been at the forefront, partially because of just the world that we're in with global threats and constant cyber concerns and just the way that we live, work, and operate. And so because of that, and Scott mentioned on a lot of those, whether it be from a fiber cut or whether it be from a cyber attack or whatever it may be, that's been a constant. So the way that we've been looking at that, cloud and generative AI is key to that. And so similarly to how Scott has that, for us, we look at cloud and specifically generative AI as as an intelligence topic, right? So we're looking at how can that topic then be integrated on all aspects of it. Another way is when you look at from mission enablement. I talked about the OSC, the open source enterprise, but another piece we talk about the inferences, the analysis, human translation, human transcription. Those are all areas that we're looking and currently using generative AI and cloud capabilities as a mission enabler and to further what we're doing. The other piece is the governance, right? A lot of times when we talk about how we use technologies and large language models, one of the things that makes us a little more unique than, say, your commercial, other customers maybe, is we have a lot of data. And so we really appreciate the partnership because you all have been in this journey with us for decades. So we're looking at bringing some of our own data, overlaying, of course, with whatever auditability and governance that may be in order to provide the mission. It goes without saying that everything that we do, of course, must have the data provenance, and we must be able to share, how we came to that. And a lot of times you'll hear us talk about at CIA is human language, augmenting humans. Very clear that, again, a team mission. We have many lawyers. We welcome the lawyers to that space. Lawyers
we love lawyers.
Yes, we
Lawyers are
always
okay.
love lawyers, absolutely. And so we just want to make sure that the governance, that we're staying within our policies and authorities, and that a human is always in the loop.
Sure. Can I ask, I want to ask a follow-up question on that. Have you seen your mental model and how you think about governance change as over this period of time where you've adopted cloud? And,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mentioned about a joint team effort. It wouldn't be fair to not mention our CIA Chief Information Security Officer, Jennifer Link, and her team, because really using generative AI, we're now using it for offensive and defensive measures, right? So generative AI looks at not just supply chain, but also predictive analysis of where threats may be. We're looking at patterns. Of course, we're looking at foreign adversary patterns to see and be able to anticipate where they are and what they're planning to do. And so with that, absolutely the patterns and just the insight and the understanding and the ability to be able to take in just huge, large, vast volumes of data and be able to draw an inference in a matter of minutes is just, super impressive.
I'd like to use that application at home with my daughters to be able to predict what they're going to do and
I
how
know,
they're going to behave, but maybe that's too.
Let me know how it
maybe
works
that
out.
intellectual property is too secret. So, we've all been doing this for quite some time in this business, and I think when we sit around and talk, we say technology is not always the issue. New technologies aren't the issue. It's really about our people and our teams and our talent, and so both of your agencies need skilled talent to fulfill your missions and a workforce that can support that, especially as these new technologies are emerging. Maybe you can share more about how your organization is championing, skills and culture and how things are changing.
Absolutely. Of course, everyone talks about the global intelligence mission and all the work that we do from a national security, but hands down, our most prized asset, the most thing that we can't do without is the people, right? We would not be able to do the mission without the people. We look at technology as always evolving, always changing, and I also think sometimes people think of, when I'm joining, say, the CIA or becoming a part of that community, a lot of times don't realize that we have a lot of what we call mid-career hires, right? And so what I mean by that is whether someone may be on their second or third or fourth or fifth career, somebody may be transitioning from the military, we welcome the partnership, just as the partnership with industry and working with you and others. It's a constant work that we do from a recruitment and retainment. I think that that will continue to go on. We are all competing for world-class talent. I'm very blessed to be working such brilliant people, but I think as threats go on to evolve and as these technologies, when you overlay where we may be located, the requirements to be in the intel community, it's a very unique community and very humbled. And so I would say to anyone, if you're interested, we're always hiring. And so you're always welcome. But I myself, similar to you, as well as Scott was mentioning, as you were talking about, I was one of those old programmers. I won't name you the language because that kind of dates you in that way. But, you can always put on a second, third, fourth year career.
Okay. That's great. Scott.
Well, I just want to make sure everybody knows NSA is also hiring. No, as Linnea said, we need talent. we have hard problems that in many cases normal people don't solve, right? So how do you get talent? Both at NSA and at CIA and across the intelligence community, we are constantly looking for new ways to get to people that have talent. Where do we engage? Where do we keep opening up that aperture for more places for us to engage? You know, for a while, if you went through the BWI airport, you saw us out there, right? So just more and more places to bring.
Shout out to NSA, had billboards at BWI.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So you're waiting on your luggage. You can think about us. So how do you go and get people? How do you make them aware that we exist and to be part of this community? Because it is, as Linnea said, it's a community that comes with its own special uniqueness, the way in which you have to get through the security and the different things you have to do to be part of that. But at the end of the day, what we do is so important to the nation and so important for all of us to be secure. So number one, where do you go get people? Number two then, as Linnea said, we're mostly in the Washington area, but we've been on a multi-year journey, decades journey of distributing that workforce away from the Washington, D.C. area, because not everybody necessarily wants to live in Maryland or Virginia or the D.C. area. So how can we get our work in other places that people want to live? So that is key. And then internal, once you have a career in an agency, how do you build an organization that is inclusive and make sure that everybody has a fulsome career across a multi-year career? And then a pet passion of mine, especially in a room full of technologists, is especially folks that are dealing with technology on a daily basis, is how do we make our environment accessible? Not just physical accessibility, but tool accessibility. We are going after a rich set of people that can come in and solve very hard problems for us. But if the tools that we build are not accessible for them, then we've limited their career. We've limited their ability to bring their best ideas. So I challenge all of us as technologists of, if you're going to build something, accessibility is not the last thing you do. Accessibility is the first thing you do to make sure everybody can use our tools.
Yeah, that's fantastic, great. And I think I would encourage both of you to push industry on that, push us on that. You have, and that's been very well received. So, hey, thank you very much. Your leadership, your service, it's not lost on me and a lot of us, the commitment that you have to have and the unique environments that you work in and the work that you do. So thank you for everything that you and your teams are doing across the world and everywhere. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dave.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Okay. So I got to get those. I got to get those predictive analytics for my kids so I can figure out what they're doing next. One of the things I love most about working with public sector is how varied the customer missions are. You just heard from two customers that work in fairly unique environments, and they're incorporating generative AI, and we're seeing that happen. We're seeing generative AI begin to be incorporated across all of these various public sector environments. And it's about harnessing the potential. Harnessing the potential of generative AI is something we're really proud of. Our goal is to really democratize this technology for everyone to use. It should be accessible to everyone, every organization, public, private. And I want to take a moment here. We've got a video that shares 3 generative AI use cases on AWS that address real-world challenges.
As the invention and the growth of AI was happening in the entire world, we've been able to get that from AWS and use it for our best purposes. We have focused the entire capability of the GenAI and GemAI chatbot to provide information and responses from our knowledge base. We expect to use all the capabilities and power of AI going forward, and we look forward to it coming from AWS.
I'm proud to be part of Extido, one of the world's leading technology providers supporting health authorities with an end-to-end platform for faster and safer medicine authorization. We have partnered with AWS to work on something truly transformative for the European Medicines Agency. By using Amazon Bedrock for generative AI in our existing health authority solution, we can optimize this process. This collaboration provides hope for patients who depend on the healthcare system. Now is the time to collectively shape a value-added world where we empower patients to thrive in society.
Easy read format or style is really important so that people with learning disabilities can make decisions about key areas of their lives. I approached AWS about Amazon Bedrock. I knew that Gen AI was going to be the kind of tool set that I wanted for translating complex information in a way that someone with a learning disability could understand. I hope that every business, regardless of the type of business they are, that they have a real think about accessible information standards and the difference it makes. To me, it's a no-brainer. Why aren't we all doing this?
All right. So those were what powerful examples of public sector innovation in action. So whether you're just beginning to unlock the potential of Gen AI or you're leveraging it to reimagine entire processes, we're excited to collaborate with you in building with this advanced technology. We're going to revisit Gen AI a little bit later, and I want to make one announcement and go back to one announcement. Bedrock is now available for our customers to use in our top secret region. Amazon Bedrock is one of those technologies that we want to democratize for use across all of public sector. Now I want to turn our attention to something else, our nonprofit sector. Today is Giving Tuesday. It's a global movement that encourages people and organizations to contribute money, time, and support to nonprofits globally. We're proud to join this year's effort by donating to two organizations, the Legal Aid Center of Nevada and the Epilepsy Foundation of America. The Legal Aid Center of Nevada provides legal guidance and representation to Southern Nevada's most vulnerable people. The Epilepsy Foundation improves the lives of people affected by epilepsy through education, advocacy, research, and connection. So for every occupied seat, and I'm glad to see there's a lot of us in here today, AWS will contribute $50 for everyone who's joined today. The total donation will be split between these two nonprofits. So just by sitting here today and attending, you're helping us give back. And if you want, please feel free to scan the QR codes and contribute even more. So at AWS, we take meaningful steps alongside 85,000 nonprofit customers to address chronic and systemic societal challenges. One way we do this is through our Imagine grant program, which provides financial and technical support to nonprofits and innovative technologies. We have 35 winners alone in 2024. And this year's recipients are doing remarkable work, like Gen AI to design new medications for complex disorders, things like schizophrenia, building vision assistants for the blind and impaired, and automating the digitization of handwritten health records in South Sudan. Congrats to all of these innovators. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Now, protecting and improving children's health is essential to the viability of our society. To address pediatric health, we've expanded the Imagine Grant program through the Children's Health Innovation Award. This is going to be an award that recognizes healthcare visionaries who are using generative AI and advanced cloud services to accelerate research and better understand rare disease. So I'm super pleased to highlight the first recipients of the Children's Health Innovation Award. Our 9 honorees are behind projects that accelerate pediatric research, they advance maternal child total health, empower the pediatric workforce and caregivers. So let's hear it for these incredible organizations. Now, gaps in women's healthcare also require our attention. Women make up nearly half of the world's population, and yet they remain underrepresented and understudied in medical research. So today, I'm proud to announce that we're providing $2 million in cloud credits to support ARPA-H's Sprint for Women's Health. It's funded by the AWS Social Responsibility and Impact Organization, and our support is going to help researchers tackle problems like brain, cardiovascular, and reproductive health. Our contribution will accelerate research and development in areas improving health outcomes for women across the world. And as you can tell, health is important to us. As we focus on that and we focus on innovation, it's crucial that we recognize the impact of technology on some of the most significant health challenges we face, such as cancer. Cancer is the world's second leading cause of death. It claims an estimated 10 million lives each year. I can't think of too many people in my own life who haven't been touched by cancer. So we're steadfast in our belief that technology can help accelerate the development of new cancer treatments and improve outcomes. That's why we committed $10 million to help launch the Cancer AI Alliance. It's a consortium of 4 national cancer centers, and they're designated and leading technology. We're on a journey with leading technology companies along with these cancer centers. So we're really proud to be a healthcare technology partner for the Alliance, and together we're going to accelerate innovation in cancer discovery and treatments by deploying generative AI at scale, and we're going to leverage the power, the agility, and the security of cloud computing to do that. We're unwavering in that commitment to the fight against cancer and really the eradication of the disease. We see a similar ethos in the White House's Cancer Moonshot, which has 2 clear goals. The first, prevent more than 4 million cancer deaths by 2047, and improve the experience of people who are impacted by cancer. So today, we're really honored and thrilled to have Dr. Danielle Carnival, the Deputy Assistant to the President for the Cancer Moonshot. She's going to tell us more about how the oncology community is collaborating to end cancer as we know it. But first, we're going to watch a quick video.
Every year around the world, approximately 20 million people receive a cancer diagnosis. By 2050, estimates suggest the number of diagnoses will double.
Early in the administration, President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden reignited the Cancer Moonshot and set bold new goals to decrease the death rate from cancer by at least 50% over the next 25 years. That means preventing 4 million Americans dying from cancer between now and 2047.
At AWS, we're helping through collaborations across government, nonprofit institutions, academia, and commercial organizations. We're now building trusted research environments around the world to improve collaboration.
By bringing cutting-edge research through the pipeline to patients and communities, all families benefit from the breakthroughs in advances to prevent, detect, and treat cancer.
AWS provided resources to Seattle-based startup Huron AI to build and scale applications that enable oncologists to provide virtual care. Huron AI developed its models using data derived from people of African descent. They offer its solutions in Rwanda, where there are less than 15 oncologists for 13.5 million people.
Amazon Web Services has changed the way our world works. That innovation and the ideas it has sparked are now part of the fabric of our lives.
We want to show that we have hope And this isn't hope in the abstract. It's grounded in science. It's grounded in breakthroughs. It's grounded in new efforts to make sure that we lessen the burden of cancer on the American people and the global population. Thank you. The Cancer Moonshot started with a single data point. One person, one family, diagnosed with a devastating, deadly disease. Because cancer is personal. It's personal to the president, the first lady, to me, I'm sure to many in this room, and to virtually every American family. And so the president and first lady turned that pain into purpose. They saw hope when their son was diagnosed with cancer. And when he died, they committed to delivering on that hope. As I said in the video, this isn't hope in the abstract. This is real hope, grounded in science, grounded in new trials, grounded in making advancements that make a difference for anyone diagnosed with cancer. And as you would grow a data set, then Vice President Biden, wanted to grow his knowledge to really focus us on what needed to be done. He traveled the country and the world, meeting with experts, maybe some of you in this room, patients, caregivers, providers, researchers, innovators, entrepreneurs. And what he found is that we need to bring the urgency of what a patient and a family feels when they get that diagnosis to how we deliver solutions. We need to unite around a common cause, break down silos, share knowledge, and drive progress. In the Biden-Harris administration, that turned into this set of goals: to end cancer as we know it. Very specifically, that means decreasing the age-adjusted death rate from cancer by at least 50% over 25 years. As Dave said, that would prevent 4 million cancer deaths in this country by 2047. And the other goal is to improve the experience of those living with and surviving cancer. That means we need to focus on everything from prevention through early detection, driving innovation to more patients and communities, and better supporting people living with this disease. We called on everyone to do their part. The White House has some convening power that we use to our advantage, bringing everyone in around very specific topics to decide what our agenda should be, how we should deliver, and to highlight those actions and commitments. Really creating the Cancer Moonshot as a platform to deliver new work going forward. And this community answered that call. I'll give 2 quick examples. With more than 7,000 participants, the Children's Brain Tumor Network is a multi-site consortium committed to securely sharing and empowering clinicians and researchers with insights from a variant database containing more than 26 billion occurrences of over 215 million unique genomics and over 10 petabytes of data on AWS. David Resnick and his team at CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, are building a generative AI virtual assistant using Amazon Bedrock to harness the power of this data, to answer real-time questions and aid in impactful research and driving progress and cures. This fall, President Biden joined the leaders of Australia, India, and Japan and committed to significantly decreasing and even eliminating cervical cancer in the Indo-Pacific region. 70% of the burden of cancer deaths in the world fall on low and middle income countries, and we can do something about that, particularly for cervical cancer. We have the tools to prevent and detect it early. This included significant commitments from the 4 countries in this partnership, but it also included private sector commitments, like AWS support for organizations in the region through cloud computing credits and enabling access to AWS and data sets via the Registry of Open Data. AWS and many other companies joined with 250 organizations, companies, nonprofits, advocacy organizations who stepped up and became part of the Cancer Moonshot, the Biden Cancer Moonshot mission. Now, on our side, we did some work too. More than 125 new actions from across the federal government. This includes things like early detection, making sure that we deliver new technology. The National Cancer Institute started nationwide clinical trials to use to test and advance multi-cancer early detection tests, even blood, being able to detect cancer early, and self-sampling for HPV so we can understand how to target resources in cervical cancer screening. This includes prevention. Many people think of the bipartisan infrastructure law as delivering roads and new bridges, but it also cleaned up water lines. 100 million people, Americans, will be protected from PFAS, or so-called forever chemical exposure, because of the work of the administration. We also, on the early detection side, committed $1 billion in Centers for Disease Control and Prevention funding that went to every state across the country, making sure we reached people in communities with the cancer screening that they need. And we partnered federally qualified health centers, those centers that deliver care to some of the most impoverished parts of this country, with National Cancer Institute recognized comprehensive cancer centers, so that someone gets a cancer screening positive, they have a pathway to get a diagnosis and to get treatment. On the innovation side, I think a topic that is most relevant to the room today, this includes all the way back in 2016, one of the initial impacts of the Cancer Moonshot was delivering the 21st Century Cures Act. Many people think of the funding that delivered, including $1.8 billion at the National Cancer Institute, that created everything like the Genomic Data Commons, brain tumor networks, and efforts around childhood cancer. But there were also significant investments and policies in there that are now being executed and implemented by the new Assistant Secretary for Technology Policy, formerly the ONC that many of you may think of at the Department of Health and Human Services, to improve patient access to health data, to decrease information blocking, and improve data standards and exchange. In addition, we delivered a brand new agency, Biomedical Research Agency, in ARPA-H, that is driving everything to improve health outcomes. Everything from projects to use AI, to discover new ways to intervene in rare diseases, to creating a biomedical data fabric and imaging data exchange. And then on the support side, for the first time ever, we are reimbursing for navigation services. Someone is going to be able to sit next to you and your family and get reimbursed as part of the system for helping you access resources and make decisions. So I hope I've convinced you of the usefulness and the momentum that we've created. The road ahead is dependent on all of you. As I said, the Cancer Moonshot started with a single data point, a single person, and now it's many, even millions. And so we need to make sure we continue to move forward on prevention and on providing care. We need to protect and grow ARPA-H, the National Cancer Institute, the National Institutes of Health. We need to continue to drive data access and interoperability. And I think I can't leave the stage unless I say AI at least 5 times, and I may have only said it twice. So I want to say one thing on AI as I close, which is I'm a researcher by training. Being able to model molecules, protein folding, and discover new drug targets is incredibly interesting. But AI should also be hugely leveraged on the access side. We need to have new tools to deliver public health and healthcare so that we don't end up further exacerbating the inequities in outcomes in cancer in so many areas. So I call on all of you to continue to join with us as part of this. I thank AWS for their partnership and truly continue to believe that together we can end cancer as we know it. Thank you. I'm going to hand it back to Dave.
Thanks so much, Dr. Carnival. I don't know much about protein folding and things like that. I do know that generative AI is creating all sorts of possibilities in this space, and we are committed, along with Dr. Carnival and many others, to ending cancer. So we thank her for the progress she's made with the Cancer Moonshot. We hope to play, and we are playing, a leading role in the fight against cancer, and the experimentation we're doing using large amounts of data have made significant contributions in finding treatments. Generative AI enables researchers and scientists and inventors to experiment even faster. You can test scenarios, you can test ideas, data points across fields like design and research and software development, and it really vastly outpaces traditional methods. Back in June, we announced the AWS Worldwide Public Sector Generative AI Initiative. It's a 2-year program to help you innovate and reimagine with our generative AI services. And it's part of this initiative that we're offering $50 million, up to $50 million in AWS promotional credits, training, technical support, expertise across your generative AI projects. So I want you to scan the QR code and learn more and get started today. We have another program, the AWS Generative AI Innovation Center, and it helps our customers accelerate their enterprise modernization. For example, Singapore's Government Technology Agency, or GovTech, is responsible for delivering digital services for the public. GovTech collaborated with the Gen AI Center to build AI and ML applications and a development platform that scales out their Gen AI services. So this solution has improved the cost already for Gen AI workloads by 75%. And fast-track Gen AI use cases at 20 of their agencies. So they're moving quickly, and you can move quickly with the cloud. Another successful engagement with Gen AI comes from Cornell University. Cornell's actually the home of my fraternity in Ithaca, New York. The center worked closely with faculty on 4 projects: an AI-powered Socratic dialogue classroom chatbot, so a veterinary medicine chatbot, an automated medical archive, transcription for research, and a secure campus-wide sandbox that enables experimentation across their enterprise. These are the use cases that are part of research that are happening at Cornell and other universities. And it's these sorts of things that are going into areas like data science and sustainable agriculture, urban design, precision medicine. Gen AI is making the difference at the university level for research. And it's unleashing all kinds of solutions, all kinds of things across our public sector. On the issue of climate change, advanced technology is equipping us with better ways to mitigate a warming planet. And the National Atmospheric and Oceanic Administration, or NOAA, is already applying cloud technology to save lives and predict how we can better respond to natural disasters. Here to tell us more is NOAA's administrator, Dr. Rick Spinrad. But before he takes the stage, let's learn about the important work that NOAA is doing.
NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, an integral part of the United States Department of Commerce. With roots that reach back more than 200 years, NOAA's mission is about science, service, and stewardship. To understand and predict changes in the climate, weather, ocean, and coasts, to share that knowledge with others, and to conserve and manage coastal and marine ecosystems and resources. NOAA supports public safety, enables sustainable commerce, and explores the unknown. World-class science and research are at the core of our agency. From the depths of the ocean to the surface of the sun, with advanced technology, we are soaring high, diving deep, and venturing far to pursue critical environmental data and to break new scientific ground. Not only do we collect the data, we use it to provide actionable information and tools grounded in sound science that inform smart decision-making. NOAA's work touches the lives of every American. Our trusted observations are the basis for weather forecasts and warnings that affect everything from your weekend plans to life-saving disaster mitigation efforts. NOAA provides the nautical charts and oceanic forecasts that enable safe navigation. We provide the fisheries stock assessments that reinforce a safe and viable seafood industry. And we provide climate data, tools, and services that help our communities improve resilience to climate change. As global leaders in environmental science and technology, we are meeting the moment. We are meeting our mission. We are meeting the needs of our country and our blue planet.
Good afternoon, thank you. Cool video, huh? We got the greatest stories at NOAA. Let me start by thanking Dave and AWS for this honor. It is a real treat to be here on this stage. It's also a real treat for me to be following my colleagues working in the national security arena and also in the health arena. I've got to tell you, it reminded me of about 10 years ago. I was at NOAA, I was the head of research at the time, and I was invited to a meeting with the President's Science Advisor, John Holdren, where we were talking about exascale computing in the federal government. That was the big thing, exascale. And he said, we're going to talk first about national security, because they've got a lot of challenges, a lot of data, a lot of real opportunities. Then we're going to talk about public health and health, because they also have some real challenges. And this was all pre-COVID, too. And they've got a lot of data. And then John said, and basically he said, if we've got time, we'll talk about the environmental stuff, too. And at the end of the meeting, he walked up to me, kind of put my arm around, said, are you okay, son? Because we had an issue 10 years ago. And the issue was we really didn't have the data volumes to do the kinds of things that we wanted to. We didn't have the skills and capabilities. That was 10 years ago. We started something really clever at NOAA then. We called it, you ready? The Big Data Project. And the idea was actually to start looking at how to collect enough data to create the information to become the federal authoritative source for what I like to call environmental intelligence. That big data project evolved into NOAA's Open Data Dissemination, or NOD project, and I'm here to tell you 10 years later, we now have, in AWS, we have 32 petabytes of environmental information. That's about half of our total holdings. That's where we are now. What I want to try to do is convey to you that the world now, the environmental world as we know it, climate, weather, oceans, ice, is not your parents' world. The hurricanes are different. The tornadoes, the drought, the flood, the coastal inundation, they are different. Think about this. Hurricane Helene is the second deadliest hurricane we've had in 50 years, with damages that are expected to be over $225 billion. Hurricane Milton was one of the most powerful hurricanes we've ever seen, and it spawned tornadoes in ways we've not seen before. Hurricane Harvey, remember Harvey? Harvey hit Houston with 5 feet of rain. When I was a kid, we didn't talk about feet of rain. So this is a different world. We're facing increasingly powerful, fundamentally different kinds of weather and climate events. In fact, this year, we're just into the first week of December, and already we have had $24 billion weather and climate disasters. That's just the billion-dollar disasters in the country so far. Last year, we had 28. If you go back 40 or 50 years, typically we'd have 3 to 5 of these billion-dollar disasters. We archive about 230 terabytes of data per month from our various observational platforms to try to understand all aspects of not just the Earth system. We also have a responsibility for space weather, for example. So our ability to collect these data, put them on NOD, store them in a system that allows AI applications is really critical. And it's not just for our use at NOAA. We are supporting a burgeoning climate industrial effort, a commercial weather enterprise, commercial climate enterprise. As the Earth system becomes a lot more complex, traditional models can only take us so far. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes in a moment talking about what we're doing in AI. But hopefully what you've gotten out of this is a sense that we are now collecting enough environmental information, enough environmental intelligence to make a fundamental difference. The fundamental difference includes having people like incident meteorologists who are resident at the scene of a wildfire, resident at the scene of a flood or a drought, to be able to have access the same way they would if they were sitting in their weather forecast office. So our IMETs, our incident meteorologists, are using Amazon AppStream 2.0 in the field to have the same kind of access to our advanced weather information and interactive processing system that they would back at the home office. This is fundamentally changing our ability to do probably the most important thing in our business, and that's predict, project, and forecast. We are improving the forecasts because we have the ability to assimilate new data types. On the left, you're seeing the tracks going back as far as 8 days before Helene made landfall. Look at the accuracy of those tracks, and even if you are not an amateur meteorologist, you can see that's pretty darn good. That track and the ability to forecast where the hurricane's going to hit is dependent on our ability to acquire data from systems like the geostationary satellites. You see the data in the upper right coming from those satellites, and from autonomous systems, surface-based robots like the sail drone that are sitting on the surface of the ocean where we've got 135-mile-an-hour winds. I'm a seagoing oceanographer. I will not take a ship to sea when we've got 135-mile-an-hour winds, but I can put a robot out there. And it is the cloud, the AWS cloud, that's both allowing us to store and distribute real-time and high-resolution data. The ability then to take those data, use them as training data to improve our forecasts is one of the strongest areas for AI applications, what we call AI for numerical weather prediction. Our European counterparts at the European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecast are outperforming us. And without going into details, the little blue blip on the upper right here shows that some forecasters now have been able to make a 7-year advancement in forecast capability in a matter of months using AI, using the training data that we now have access to. So we're incorporating AI into all of our NOAA applications, whether it's space weather, regular weather, or even doing things like monitoring whales, which is part of our responsibility. And in the future, in the years to come, we're going to be able to tailor those forecasts for the construction industry, for agriculture, for the energy sector. We'll be able to improve decision support. We will make all communities, including those that have historically been unserved or underserved, even better. And we will be serving new commercial sectors like construction, like reinsurance, like retail. At the end of the day, what we are going to do is improve lives, livelihoods, and lifestyles. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, Rick. Your agency's pioneering use of technology will help keep us all safer. So before one final nod to the Renaissance, I want to invite all of you to join us at the AWS Worldwide Public Sector Customer Reception. They won't let me call it a party, but imagine it's a party. That's tomorrow, 7 p.m. at Chaos Nightclub. That's at the Palms Resort and Casino. Leonardo da Vinci was a legendary polymath. His achievements and contributions captivate us to this day. Da Vinci once said, "Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." Let that be our call to action. We're in the early days of a new renaissance, a rebirth, if you will. You heard Dr. Spinrad talk about exascale computing. This is possible today in the public sector and in public service. And so just as the Renaissance wasn't confined to a single field or place, the impact of your cloud-powered innovations extend far beyond individual sectors. They extend beyond geographical boundaries. And as you all are our public sector customers and partners, you're the great thinkers and builders of this era. You take smart risks, you persevere through difficulty, and actively create solutions to the world's most pressing challenges. And we're honored to be your partner and support you every step of the way. It's a better journey tomorrow in research, in cancer, in climate, and in every area. Innovations from centuries past laid the foundation for how we live today. That enduring drive to transform, unlock potential, propel society forward, it's what fuels us all. So keep believing, keep pushing keep pushing the boundaries, and most importantly, keep innovating. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of reInvent.